I thought I had finally found my place in the world. 3 years into my marriage with Amanda, I was still trying to win over her 14-year-old daughter, Lily. Our suburban Boston home was supposed to be where we built our new life together, but lately it felt more like a battlefield. I never expected things to explode over something as simple as a school attendance report. When Lily screamed those words at me, I felt something break inside. The worst part was not her teenage outburst, but what came after. Before I tell you what happened next, let me know where you are watching from, and hit that subscribe button if you have ever felt like an outsider in your own home. The day I met Amanda still feels like yesterday. We both worked at the same software company in downtown Boston. I was a senior software engineer, spending most of my days debugging code and designing systems. She was the new marketing manager who had transferred from the New York office. The first time I saw her walking into our department meeting, I nearly spilled coffee all over my laptop. There was something magnetic about her confident stride and warm smile that caught my attention immediately. It took me 3 weeks to finally ask her out for coffee. To my surprise, she said yes without hesitation. That first date at the small cafe around the corner from our office turned into dinner, which turned into a walk along the Charles River as the autumn leaves fell around us. We talked for hours about everything from our childhood dreams to our favorite movies. Amanda was not only beautiful but intelligent and ambitious. I found myself thinking about her constantly. Our relationship progressed quickly. Within 6 months, we were spending nearly every weekend together. It was during one of our dinner dates that Amanda first mentioned Lily. She showed me a picture of a serious-looking 10-year-old girl with her mother's eyes and a cautious expression. "My daughter is my whole world," Amanda said, her voice softening. "Her father walked out when she was 5. It has been just the two of us since then." I admired how devoted Amanda was to her daughter. When she spoke about Lily, her eyes lit up with a fierce, protective love that made me respect her even more. I had always wanted children, but had never found the right person to start a family with. The thought of becoming part of their lives filled me with both excitement and nervousness. Our first meeting was planned carefully. I brought a gift, a book about astronomy that Amanda mentioned Lily was interested in. We met at a casual pizza place, hoping the relaxed environment would make things easier. From the moment Lily walked in, I could feel her studying me with suspicious eyes. Despite my best efforts at conversation, she answered mostly in one word, responses keeping her arms crossed tightly across her chest. "Do you like reading about stars?" I asked, sliding the wrapped book toward her. She shrugged. "I guess." Amanda jumped in. "Lily has a telescope in her room. She knows all the constellations, do not you, sweetie?" Another shrug. The book remained untouched throughout the meal. Later, when Lily went to the restroom, Amanda squeezed my hand. "She is still struggling with her dad leaving. Give her time. She will warm up to you." I nodded, trying to hide my disappointment. Of course, no rush. Over the next few months, I made countless attempts to connect with Lily. I took an interest in her hobbies, offered help with her science homework, and even learned about her favorite bands so I could have something to talk about. Each effort was met with the same indifference. Occasionally, I would catch a glimpse of the bright, curious girl Amanda described, but those moments were rare and fleeting. Despite the challenges with Lily, Amanda and I fell deeply in love. When I proposed after a year of dating, she cried happy tears and said yes immediately. We planned a small, intimate wedding, hoping it would be less overwhelming for Lily. Throughout the ceremony, she stood stiffly beside her mother, declining to participate in the family sand ceremony we had planned. In our wedding photos, her smile never reached her eyes. We bought a house in a quiet suburb with good schools. It had a backyard with a maple tree and enough space for the three of us to build a life together. I converted one of the bedrooms into a space for Lily, letting her choose the paint color and furniture. She picked a deep blue for the walls reminiscent of a night sky. "This is your home now, too," I told her on moving day. "I want you to feel comfortable here." She nodded silently, unpacking her books and arranging them methodically on her new shelf. The first year of marriage was a adjustment. I quickly learned that being a stepfather was far more complicated than I had anticipated. Amanda often interpreted between Lily and me, translating her daughter's moods and behaviors in ways I struggled to understand. When Lily refused to join us for family dinner, Amanda would make excuses for her. When she slammed her bedroom door, after I asked about school, Amanda assured me it was normal teenage behavior. She just needs time. Became a mantra in our house. There were good moments, too. A weekend trip to the beach in Maine where Lily actually laughed at my terrible attempt to build a sandcastle. A school science fair where she reluctantly allowed me to help with her project on lunar phases. Small breakthroughs that gave me hope that we were making progress, even if it was painfully slow. By the time Lily turned 13, those moments became increasingly rare. She spent more time locked in her room, coming out only for meals or school. Her grades began to slip. The bright, curious girl who had once been interested in astronomy now seemed disinterested in everything except her phone and the friends Amanda and I barely knew. The first call from school came when Lily was in 8th grade. She had skipped 3 days of classes without our knowledge. When confronted, she claimed she had been sick and afraid to tell us. Amanda accepted this explanation without question, but something about it did not sit right with me. We should be stricter about her attendance, I suggested that night after Lily had gone to bed. Maybe take away her phone privileges when she skips school. Amanda frowned. She is under a lot of pressure. The transition to middle school has been hard for her. I understand that, but there have to be consequences for lying to us. She did not lie, Amanda said defensively. She just did not know how to tell us she was struggling. These conversations became a pattern. I would express concern about Lily's behavior and Amanda would defend her. The united front we had promised to maintain began to crack, leaving me feeling increasingly isolated in my own home. The tension extended beyond our immediate family. Amanda's mother, Julia, visited often and made no secret of her opinion that I was too strict with Lily. During Sunday dinners at their house, I would catch them exchanging glances when I mentioned Lily's behavior or schoolwork. Once I overheard Julia telling Amanda that Lily needed a gentler approach than what Perry thinks is best. I felt like an outsider in my own family, the bad guy who wanted rules and structure while everyone else thought indulgence was the answer. The more I tried to establish myself as a parental figure, the more resistance I faced from all sides. Meanwhile, my relationship with Amanda began to change. The passionate, connected couple we had been was replaced by two people who functioned more like roommates than spouses. Our conversations revolved around logistics and schedules rather than dreams and desires. When I tried to talk about the growing distance between us, Amanda would blame work stress or fatigue. The final crack in our foundation appeared when David, Lily's biological father, suddenly reappeared after years of absence. He called out of the blue one evening, asking to speak with Lily. Amanda agreed without consulting me, and soon Lily was having regular phone calls with the father who had abandoned her. I voiced my concerns one night after discovering a text from David on Lily's phone. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" He left her once. "What if he disappears again?" "He is still her father," Amanda replied. "She has a right to know him. I just do not want to see her get hurt again." "Like you are such an expert on what is best for her," Amanda snapped, then immediately looked regretful. "I am sorry. I did not mean that." But the words had been said, and they hung between us like a wall. I began to wonder if Amanda had ever truly seen me as a father figure to Lily, or if I had just been convenient support until something better came along. Despite these growing problems, I still tried to save our family. I suggested counseling both as a couple and as a family. Amanda reluctantly agreed, but after 2 sessions she found reasons to cancel. I planned a summer vacation, hoping that time away from our routine might help us reconnect, but Amanda said it was too expensive despite the fact that I had been setting aside money for months. For Lily's 14th birthday, I spent my bonus on a new telescope more powerful than her old one. When she opened it, there was a flicker of the old enthusiasm in her eyes, but it faded quickly when Julia commented that it was an awfully academic gift for a teenage girl. Financially, things were becoming strained as well. 6 months earlier, Amanda had quit her job, claiming she needed to be more available for Lily. What was supposed to be temporary stretched on as our savings dwindled. I took on freelance projects on weekends to make up the difference, working 60-hour weeks while feeling increasingly unappreciated at home. The weight of trying to hold everything together while being treated like an intruder was exhausting. Still, I kept trying. This was the family I had chosen, and I was not going to give up without a fight. The breaking point came on a Tuesday afternoon in October. I had received an email from Lily's science teacher expressing concern about her frequent absences and falling grades. She was at risk of failing the quarter if things did not improve. The teacher had requested a parent conference, but Amanda had a dental appointment she refused to reschedule. "You go," she said. "Just tell them she has been going through a hard time." The meeting was even worse than I had anticipated. Not only was Lily failing science, but her attendance record showed she had missed 18 days of school in the first 2 months of the semester. When I asked where she had been going during these absences, her teachers had no answers. I left the school feeling a mixture of concern and anger. When I got home, I found Lily in the kitchen, scrolling through her phone as if it were any normal day. "We need to talk," I said, placing my keys on the counter. "I just came from a meeting with your teachers." She barely glanced up. So, so you have missed 18 days of school this semester. Where have you been going out?" She continued scrolling. I reached over and gently took the phone from her hands. "This is serious, Lily. You are failing your classes. If this continues, you will have to repeat the grade." That got her attention. She stood up, face flushing with anger. "Give me back my phone. Not until we talk about this. I want to know where you have been going when you are supposed to be in school." "None of your business," she spat. "It is absolutely my business. I am responsible for you." She laughed, a harsh sound that held no humor. "You are not responsible for me. You are not my dad. You are just some guy my mom married." The words stung, but I kept my composure. "I may not be your biological father, but I care about what happens to you. And right now I am concerned about your future." "Like you actually care about me," she scoffed. "You just want to control everything." "That is not true, Lily. I want to help you." "I do not need your help. Why do not you just disappear?" she shouted, tears forming in her eyes. "Nobody wants you here anyway." I was about to respond when I heard the front door open. Amanda walked in, looking between us with confusion. "What is going on?" Lily immediately ran to her mother, tears streaming down her face. He took my phone and started yelling at me. "I was not yelling," I said calmly. "I just came from a meeting with her teachers. Did you know she has missed 18 days of school? She is failing all her classes." Instead of showing concern about this revelation, Amanda put her arm protectively around Lily. "Why are you interrogating her the minute I walk through the door? I am not interrogating her. I am trying to address a serious problem that affects her future." By making her cry, Amanda's voice rose. "This is exactly why she has trouble talking to you. You always make everything so dramatic." I could not believe what I was hearing. Dramatic. She is failing school because she is skipping class almost every other day. How is that not something to be concerned about? Of course I am concerned, but attacking her is not the solution. I did not attack her. I asked where she has been going when she is supposed to be in school, which is a completely reasonable question that you should be asking too. Lily pulled away from her mother, glaring at me. "See, he always blames me for everything. I hate living here with him." What happened next was the moment that changed everything. Instead of correcting Lily or trying to de-escalate the situation, Amanda looked directly at me and said, "Maybe we would be better off without you." The room went silent. I stared at Amanda, waiting for her to retract the statement or clarify that she did not mean it the way it sounded. But she just stood there, her arms still around Lily, both of them presenting a united front against me. I finally said, my voice quiet. "Well, now I know where we stand." I placed Lily's phone on the counter and walked out of the kitchen. Behind me, I could hear Amanda comforting Lily, not once calling after me or trying to explain her cruel words. That night, I slept on the couch, replaying the scene over and over in my mind. Had I overreacted to Lily's school situation? Was I really the problem in our family dynamic? I thought about all the times I had tried to connect with Lily, all the times I had supported Amanda, all the sacrifices I had made for this family that never quite accepted me. Around 3 in the morning, unable to sleep, I checked Amanda's tablet that she had left on the coffee table. I hated myself for snooping, but something told me there was more to the story than what I was seeing. My suspicions were confirmed when I found a series of messages between Amanda and David. They had been in regular contact for months, discussing not just Lily, but their own relationship as well. The most recent message from Amanda read, "Perry has no idea about us. We need to figure out how to tell him." Everything suddenly made sense. The emotional distance, the constant defense of Lily against me, the refusal to work on our marriage. Amanda was planning to leave me for her ex-husband, the same man who had abandoned them years ago. The pain was immediate and overwhelming, but alongside it came a strange sense of clarity. I had been fighting to save a family that did not want me to be part of it. I had been pouring myself into a relationship that had already ended in Amanda's mind. As the sun rose, I made a decision. I would not stay where I was not wanted. I would not continue to be the villain in their story. I would leave not because I was giving up, but because I was finally recognizing the truth that had been in front of me all along. I waited until Amanda and Lily had left for the day. Amanda had barely spoken to me that morning, avoiding eye contact as she rushed Lily out the door. Neither of them seemed to notice or care about my unusual silence. Once alone, I moved methodically through the house. I packed my clothes, my personal items, and a few mementos from happier times. I left behind the furniture, the electronics, most of the things we had purchased together. Those belonged to the life we had tried to build, a life that no longer existed. I wrote a brief letter explaining that I would not stand in the way of their happiness. I left it on the kitchen table, along with my house key and wedding ring. I transferred half of our savings into Amanda's personal account, enough to cover several months of expenses while she figured out her next steps. As I took one final look at the house that had never truly become my home, I felt a complex mixture of grief and relief. I was losing the family I had tried so hard to create, but perhaps I was also freeing myself from an impossible situation. I checked into a budget hotel on the outskirts of town, sent a brief email to my boss, requesting emergency personal leave, and turned off my phone. I needed time to process everything, to figure out what my life would look like now that the foundation I had built it on had crumbled. For 3 days, I existed in a strange limbo. I barely left my room except to get food from the vending machines or take short walks around the hotel parking lot. I slept fitfully, waking from dreams where I was still at home, still trying to make things work. The reality of my situation would crash back each time, the pain fresh and raw. On the morning of the 4th day, I finally turned my phone back on. It immediately began buzzing with notifications. 13 missed calls. 5 from Amanda, 3 from my workplace, 2 from Lily's number, and 3 from Amanda's mother. There were dozens of text messages as well, growing increasingly frantic. From Amanda, "Where are you? Please, come home, we need to talk." From Lily, "Surprisingly, I am sorry for what I said. Please come back." From Julia, "Whatever Amanda said, she did not mean it. You need to come home and work this out." I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the messages, unsure what to make of them. Were they genuinely concerned about me, or just worried about the practical implications of my absence? The mortgage payment was due in a week. Amanda had not worked in months. Was that the real motivation behind their sudden change of heart? I did not respond to any of the messages. Instead, I called my old friend Mark, who had gone through a divorce a few years earlier. He agreed to meet me for lunch at a diner far from my neighborhood. "You look like hell," he said when I slid into the booth across from him. "Feel like it too," I admitted. Over burgers and coffee, I told him everything. The years of trying to connect with Lily, the growing distance with Amanda, the discovery of her communications with David, and finally the devastating words that had pushed me to leave. Mark listened without interrupting, nodding occasionally. When I finished, he leaned back in the booth and sighed. "Man, that is rough. But can I be honest with you, please? You have been letting them walk all over you for years. Every time they pushed you back down. Every time they excluded you, you tried harder to be included. You gave and gave and gave, and they just took." His words stung, but I knew they were true. "So what do I do now?" I asked. "First, you establish boundaries. If Amanda wants to talk, you meet on neutral ground. You do not go back to that house until you are absolutely certain about what you want. And most importantly, you remember your own worth. You deserve better than being treated like an unwanted guest in your own family." I nodded slowly. I think part of me always knew it was not working, but I wanted so badly to have a family that I ignored all the signs. "Having a family is great," Mark said, "but not at the expense of your self-respect." After lunch, I found the courage to text Amanda back, suggesting we meet at the coffee shop where we had our first date. The symmetry felt appropriate somehow. She arrived 15 minutes early, looking as though she had not slept in days. When she saw me, her eyes filled with tears. "Perry, thank God. We have been so worried." I kept my distance, declining her attempt at a hug. I needed some time to think. We sat at a corner table, the afternoon sunlight streaming through the windows. For a moment, neither of us spoke. "Why did you leave like that?" she finally asked. "You just disappeared without a word." I looked at her incredulously. "Without a word? You told me you would be better off without me. What exactly did you expect me to do with that?" She had the grace to look ashamed. "I did not mean it. I was just upset about you and Lily fighting. This is not about one fight, Amanda. This is about 3 years of me trying to be part of a family that never accepted me. This is about you consistently undermining my relationship with Lily. This is about you and David planning to get back together behind my back." Her face paled. "You know about that. I saw the messages on your tablet. How long has it been going on?" She stared down at her untouched coffee. "He reached out about 6 months ago. Said he had changed, that he wanted to try again." She looked up, tears streaming down her face. "But he disappeared again 3 days ago, right after you left. He came by the house, asked for money to pay off some gambling debts, and when I refused, he left. He is not answering my calls now." I felt a hollow laugh escape me. "So this is not really about wanting me back. This is about David disappointing you again, and now you need someone to pay the bills." "That is not fair," she protested. "Lily is devastated. She has barely left her room since you left. She keeps saying it is all her fault." "And what have you told her?" Amanda sighed. "I told her that we both said things we did not mean, that you love her but you were hurt." "Do you really believe I love her? Because you have spent years acting like I was an inconvenience in your lives, not a father figure." "That is not true," she insisted, but her eyes betrayed her. We both knew it was exactly true. "I cannot come back, Amanda," I said firmly. "Not to live. Too much has happened. Too much has been revealed. I do not trust you anymore, and I do not think you have ever really trusted me with Lily. So you are just giving up on us." "On our marriage, no. You gave up on our marriage when you started planning a future with David. I am just finally accepting reality." She began to cry in earnest then. "Please, Perry, we can fix this. We can go to counseling like you wanted. I will get a job. Things will be different." I shook my head. I do not doubt that things would be different for a while, but the fundamental issues would remain. You do not see me as an equal partner in parenting Lily. You do not respect my concerns or my boundaries. And somewhere deep down, you are still hoping David will become the man you want him to be. "What about Lily?" she asked, using her final card. "Are you just going to abandon her like her father did?" The question hurt, but I had anticipated it. I am not abandoning her. If she wants to maintain a relationship with me, I am open to that. We can arrange times to meet, talk on the phone, whatever she is comfortable with. But I will not live in a home where I am treated like an unwanted guest. Amanda left the coffee shop, still crying, but I felt strangely at peace. For the first time in years, I had stood up for myself, had articulated my needs without apology or compromise. It was painful, but it was also liberating. That evening, I received a text from Lily asking if we could talk. We arranged to meet at an ice cream shop near her school the following day. I was nervous about the conversation, uncertain what to expect from the teenager who had declared her hatred for me just days earlier. When she arrived, she looked smaller, somehow more vulnerable than I had seen her in years. She sat across from me, ice cream melting untouched in front of her. "Mom said you are not coming back home," she said finally, her voice small. "I am not coming back to live there." "No," I confirmed gently. "But that does not mean I am disappearing from your life, unless that is what you want." She looked up, surprised. "You still want to see me, even after what I said?" "People say hurtful things when they are angry or scared, Lily. That does not erase 3 years of caring about you." She began to cry quietly. "I did not mean it when I said I hated you, and I did not want you to disappear." "Then why did you say it?" She shrugged, wiping at her tears. "I do not know. I guess it was easier to push you away than worry about you leaving someday, like Dad did." The simple truth of her statement hit me hard. All this time, I had been trying to prove my commitment to her, never realizing that the more I cared, the more threatening I became. Every act of love was also a risk of future abandonment in her eyes. "I am sorry I left without talking to you," I said. "That was not fair to you. Mom told me what she said, about being better off without you. That was really mean." I nodded. It hurt a lot. "But I think your mom and I have had problems for a long time. Problems that have nothing to do with you." We talked for over an hour, more openly than we ever had before. She told me about the pressure she felt at school, about missing her father, even though she knew he was unreliable, about her fear that I would replace him completely if she let me too close. I listened without judgment, realizing there was so much going on beneath the surface that I had never understood. Before we parted, I made her a promise. "I will not disappear from your life, Lily. We can figure out what our relationship looks like going forward. But I want you to know that my door is always open to you no matter what happens between your mom and me." For the first time in 3 years, she initiated a hug, brief but genuine. It felt like the beginning of something new, something honest and real, in a way our previous relationship had never been. 6 months have passed since I walked away from my marriage. The divorce is nearly finalized, and I have settled into a new apartment closer to my office. The first few months were difficult, filled with doubts and moments of crushing loneliness. There were days when I questioned my decision, nights when I missed the comfort of my old life despite its problems. But slowly things began to change. Without the constant tension and conflict at home, I found myself rediscovering parts of my personality that had been suppressed for years. I reconnected with old friends, took up hobbies I had abandoned, and even started dating again, though very cautiously. My relationship with Lily has evolved in unexpected ways. We meet every other weekend, usually for lunch or an activity she chooses. Our conversations are easier now, unburdened by the complex dynamics that poisoned our home life. She has started bringing her school assignments for me to review, something she never allowed when we lived together. Her grades have improved dramatically, and she recently mentioned wanting to join the astronomy club at school. Amanda and I maintain a civil but distant relationship. She found a job at a local marketing firm and seems to be adjusting to single parenthood. David has resurfaced occasionally, making promises he never keeps, but Amanda appears to be finally seeing through his pattern. In our last conversation about Lily, she actually thanked me for remaining consistent in her daughter's life. Looking back, I realized that my greatest mistake was not in loving Amanda and Lily, but in forgetting to love myself in the process. I gave away pieces of my dignity, my self-respect, my very identity, in an attempt to build a family that could never truly exist, as long as one member was treated as an outsider. The experience has taught me that real love, whether romantic or parental, cannot thrive without mutual respect and honest communication. It has shown me that sometimes walking away is not an act of abandonment, but an act of self-preservation. And most importantly, it has taught me that family is not just about legal ties or living under the same roof, but about genuine care that persists even when circumstances change. I do not know what the future holds for any of us. I am dating a kind, straightforward woman who respects boundaries and communicates openly. Lily is growing into a more confident, honest teenager who is learning to trust again. And Amanda is hopefully finding her own path to healing and independence. Sometimes the bravest thing is not staying against all odds, but knowing when to walk away and still keeping your heart open for those who truly deserve it. If you have ever had to make the difficult choice between staying in a painful situation or leaving to preserve your self-respect, I want to hear your story in the comments below. How did you know it was time to go? What helped you through the transition? Remember to hit that like button if this story resonated with you, subscribe for more real-life experiences, and share this with someone who might need to hear that. Sometimes the hardest decisions lead to the most necessary growth. Thank you for listening, and remember, your worth is not determined by how much someone else values you, but by how much you value yourself.